Welcome to Blackbeard Logic on the Guns and the 701 Network. Let's get it. Leon here with Blackbeard Logic. Get out to my truck this morning, and this is what I was dealing with. Another beautiful morning, turn the key, and yeah, that's blue smoke. Just what I needed. Set me back 2 days. My truck is gargling gravel and coughing up a storm. But I can fix it. Here we go. We don't need that. Do without that. That's probably optional. Moving on to phase 2. Yeah. I probably should have just called Laura Auto Repair. If you got auto issues, call this guy, Doug at Laura Auto Repair. And don't be like me. Seriously, call this guy. Don't be like this guy. Blackbeard Logic.
So did you hear? Our governor here in North Dakota just declared a public health emergency over a leaf. Not a flood, not a chemical spill. A leaf. Kratom. People use the natural stuff for pain. We even have a Republican state senator who takes it for his back. Recommended dose helps him function. And now the state is banning all of it overnight. Sale, possession, use, criminal penalties coming, special sessions locked in. Folks, this is not an emergency. 23 deaths over 7 years, often mixed with other drugs, is not clear the Capitol. If this is an emergency, then NyQuil is a national security threat. I mean, even the governor admitted that he doesn't want to turn an 18-year-old into a lifelong felon for buying something that was legal last month. Yet that is exactly what this ban does. Medical freedom? Gone. Bodily autonomy? What? Apparently, those only matter when it's convenient. If the problem is the candy-colored synthetic tablets in like gas stations, then regulate those. Age-gate those. Ban those concentrates. But criminalizing the natural leaf that adults use for pain, that's not public health. That's the state treating grown folks like children who can't be trusted with a plant. This isn't protecting North Dakotans. It's insulting us. Stop this. Blackbeard Logic. Guns in the 701. Oof. These people. Cheese my grits. Welcome, folks. Welcome. Leon Francis, your host. This is Blackbeard Logic, Guns in the 701 Network. And I played that video to start the show because I want to set the stage to what we're dealing with right here. If you don't know, our governor, our little Lord Fauntleroy, or whatever you want to call it, has declared a state of emergency and has banned Kratom. Now, Kratom is a leaf. It's not like a bioweapon or a dirty bomb or even a GLP-1. And it has, especially the natural leaf, Kratom, has 0 deaths attributed to it. 0. I want you guys to understand that. I posted about that today. They are waving around this 23 deaths number like it's Michael Jordan's jersey back when he was with the Chicago Bulls. Like it's some big deal. It's not. It's and I again, I'm having trouble wrapping my brain around the logic behind this ban. I can't do it. As a matter of fact, did you folks know that GLP-1s in America since 2025, I believe, has killed almost 5,000 people. 5,000. And we're handing these things out like chiclets. Here you go. Right there. U.S. payers data for GLP-1 receptor, that whole boring thing. 4,000. 100, and the UK is worse. I want you guys to understand why I'm so confused about what's going on here. And I got my friend, State Senator Jeff Magrum. He's going to be on in about half an hour, well, about 20 minutes now. And we're going to talk about it. I don't understand what this thing is all about. Now, yours truly, I didn't know much about Kratom. Actually, I'm going to say I didn't know anything about it until this happened. I was at a friend's house, and they asked me if I'd seen the governor's little press conference, and I hadn't. And then they showed me, and I'm like, so what is Kratom? Like, it's an emergency. Maybe I need to look out for this thing, you know? I, I don't know. And so I started digging into it, and the more I started digging into it, the more confused I got. I know that my friend Dan introduced some legislation. I think it got turned into a study or something, and the very guy, Governor Armstrong, who stood there and said, up until a couple of weeks ago, I'd never heard of this thing. He signed that legislation. They turned it into a study. Study never got done. But the fact of the matter is, he signed it. And now apparently, I don't know who's gotten to his head. We can talk about that. I don't know. Chronic pain and veterans consumer wake up early. I mean, only to become felons. Yeah, and that's something else. Like, I went on Amazon just for S&Gs, and you military guys will know what that is. Just for S&Gs, and so I looked up. I went on Amazon and just to see if I could still buy like the leaf kratom, like the natural leaf kratom, and North Dakota, as of this morning, was not listed there. Like, I could go all the way through the process without it, didn't do it because it's not a thing that I do. But, and I want to talk about that too. There are so many Karens. The reason I titled this episode Kelly, Karens, and Kratom is because it is unbelievable to me the amount of people that are completely fine with government tyranny. They're completely fine with it. Like, they're giving me, like, some lady, apparently a friend of hers was going through some things, and he was using the synthetic kratom, and that's something else we're going to talk about. Using the synthetic version plus other drugs. This person was an addict, from what I can understand, and had other issues. And this person attempted to superimpose that on, like, my family and ask it what I would do if it was my family member. And I got to tell you, my position doesn't change. It doesn't change. Liberty is liberty, and liberty comes with some danger. We cannot bubble wrap society in order to keep a couple of people safe when they are hell-bent on self-harm. That's not a thing we should ever do or consider in this country. It's why our founding documents were... here's another thing. We're going to talk about the LPRs later, the flock cameras and the Axums and all of that stuff. And the folks that say it, you know, safety and all of that. I'm going to tell you my school of thought on this entire there ought to be a law culture. I'm not one of those guys. I'm gonna put it out there just like that. I'm not one of those guys. I don't believe that there ought to be a law. I think we have a supreme law, and that supreme law says, a good friend of mine said, I don't care if the government is watching me. I'm not doing anything wrong, and you don't have any expectation of privacy. When you're in public, the hell you don't. You absolutely do, and your Constitution guarantees you that. If I am out in public and you see me, the only thing that you see are my unmutable qualities. Like I'm a black guy, I'm about this tall, I'm about this wide, and that you don't know anything else about me. That's John Q. Public. When the government gets involved, everything is known about you. So when you go past the license plate reader, they have your address, they have your phone number, where you work, they have all of the things that should be covered under the Fourth Amendment. You being secured in your person, your effects, and all of that stuff, without the government seizing it, which is what they're doing. So when you say idiotic things like I'm not doing anything wrong, and you don't have you don't have the right to privacy in a public setting, that is absolutely wrong, and it's asinine. And then to bring it back to this, like, again, when you allow the government to come in heavy-handed, banning things all willy-nilly, what you do is you restrict liberty. So it wouldn't matter if it was my son or my daughter or my cousin or it wouldn't matter. I try to help them. What I don't want to do is retard the liberty of everybody else because a relative of mine has a problem. I don't understand that mindset. I never have. And before I bloviate too long, I want just to get a couple of facts out here. Kratom. For the folks that don't know what this is, hearing earlier today went well. Reps on Zoom spoke well. Okay. That's good. So, Kratom is a natural plant product containing multiple alkaloids, primarily, I'm not going to try to pronounce that, which provides dose-dependent effects ranging from stimulation to sedation. Now, the problem comes, so this is natural plant. The problem comes into play when you have these synthetics. And the 7-OH, it is 5 to 50 times more potent than standard kratom powder and binds more aggressively to opioid receptors. But this is the synthetic kind. Kratom has like 0.01% of this stuff in it. And what they do is they synthesize it and make it 5 to 50 times more potent, slap some candy coating on it, and you're out the door. You don't ban a product that a lot of people use who are holistic, who use it because they don't want to get on, the big pharma opioid bandwagon. You don't do that. You don't make criminals out of people by banning something one day and 2 days later you're a criminal. There are people that work in this industry who are good people that use the botanicals. There are people that work in our everyday life, in public life, that use natural leaf kratom so they can get out of bed in the morning because they have backaches, because they have certain ailments and aches and things like that. And again, I don't have a dog in this fight. Unlike some of the folks on my social media, you can tell a kratom user because of how hard he's going. No, I got zero dog in the fight. I have no investments in Kratom. I don't use it, never heard of it. My investment is in liberty and me thinking that something stinks here. We're getting a special session out of this. 23 people. It's like the whole COVID thing all over again. You're on your motorcycle. You have a fatal crash. They take you to the hospital. You had COVID, so the cause of death is COVID. You remember that whole thing? So 23 deaths, none of which are from natural leaf kratom. None of them. 0 of them are from natural leaf kratom. None. I want to make sure you guys understand that. 0 of them are from natural leaf kratom. None of it. And even if you lump in all of the stuff at the candy stores and all of that, it's 23 deaths. I just showed you GLP-1 in less time. Give me a second. In less time, 4,000. And the last I checked, and GLP-1s have been linked to. Did you guys know that sudden blindness has doubled since GLP-1s came on the market? Did you know that? We're not banning these things, though. We're handing them out like chiclets. And I could go on and on about that. Here, let's get into a couple of other facts about kratom. Here, source and potency. While natural kratom leaves contain only trace amounts, and I said this, less than 0.01% of the 7-OH commercial 7-OH products are often semi-synthetic concentrates that can contain up to 98% of the alkaloid, making them significantly stronger and more dangerous than whole leaf kratom. Now, even taking this into the equation, 23 deaths since 2019. 23. Something stinks here. And it's not 23, just with the 7-OH. This is 23 with meth in their system, with other drugs in their system, with other mitigating factors. Like, none of this makes sense to me. None of it. I'm having a problem wrapping my brain around what is going on here. I've had some people give me some ideas, but they're all theories. But something is obviously going on here. Here I have Kratom 3. Risk and regulation. 7-OH carries a much higher risk of addiction, rapid tolerance, severe withdrawals compared to traditional kratom. Due to these heightened dangers, the FDA has recommended classifying concentrated 7-OH as a Schedule 1 substance, and several states have banned or restricted its sale, while natural kratom leaves product remain largely unregulated or legal in more jurisdictions, which is what it should be. This is how it should be. Regulate the thing that's dangerous. The whole overall ban, again, I'm lost on that. That loses me. I mean, did we forget about, like, alcohol? Alcohol is involved in tens of thousands of U.S. deaths annually. And we had the national prohibition from the 1920s to 1933, sold partly on protecting families. What did it produce? It produced organized crime, poison industrial alcohol, widespread non-compliance before being repealed. Like, none of this is good. You look at bathtubs. and I want you to see what I'm looking at when I'm looking at this whole thing in a nutshell, and why I keep saying it's confusing to me. Swimming pools and bathtubs. Drowning is the leading cause of accidental death for young children in the United States. We regulate pools and teach swimming rather than ban backyard swimming or bathtubs. What about cars? Should we ban cars? 40,000 Americans die in traffic crashes every year. I mean, if the standard is, what if it was your kid, then let's ban automobiles tomorrow, right? No, we don't do that. Again, it's all crazy to me. You think about firearms. They're always throwing this one out there. So think about how many deaths. The cause isn't the firearm. The cause is criminality. But Democrats want to ban them, and they throw as many roadblocks up as possible. But the fact of the matter is, firearms save more lives than they ever destroy lives. In the United States, we have more small arms than the rest of the world combined. We have like 47% of the world's small arms right here. Like rednecks and coon asses like me. Like that. And we're not out shooting. We're not out committing criminal acts with these firearms, and we don't need them banned because, again, we have a constitutionally protected right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness and the defense of what we are. We have a Second Amendment put in place for that. Like I said about the flock thing, we have a Fourth Amendment put in place for that. We cannot allow the Karens and there ought to be a law folks to ruin it for everyone. They're going to have crying. I've already seen them on Valley News, on WDAY, all of these sob stories about all of these addicts that had these horrible experiences. And the irony of that is, Fargo is giving out boost kits and hypodermic needles and the whole, but that's beside the point. But this Kratom thing, this is the problem. Something smells. Something stinks here. How well, and this is the last one, and we'll go to break and we'll come back with Jeff Magrum. But how well did the firearms ban in the UK go? Because they got the knifing behind that. And then they banned the knives, unless you were an immigrant. And then the knifings escalated. And then they banned knives, they age-restricted knives, even if you wanted to go get a butter knife. Like there's a process for that. And they still have the knifings. Banning is never the answer. And especially not when we got stats like the ones I just showed you. There have been 0 deaths with natural leaf kratom. 0. And the 23 deaths all have contributing factors. Other things, other drugs, even including meth. This is not an emergency. There should not be a ban. Something stinks here. And when we get back, I'm going to ask Jeff Magrum a couple of questions and get his perspective on this whole thing. So, Leon Francis, Blackbeard Logic, Guns in the 701 Network. We'll be right back right after this break.
Lauer Auto Repair, located at 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Give them a call at 701-258-6308.
The team of mechanics at Lauer Auto can take care of any problem your vehicle is having. And when you do business with Lauer, you can be assured you're doing business with a pro Second Amendment America First repair shop. There are plenty of other auto repair shops in the Bismarck-Mandan area. But why take a chance at patronizing a shop that might not have your beliefs at heart? Make no mistake. Lauer Auto is your pro Second Amendment repair shop. When you talk to the guys at Lauer Auto, don't forget to tell them that you heard they are a sponsor of Guns and the 701 and that you appreciate their support of our pro Second Amendment, pro North Dakota live stream and podcast. That's Lauer Auto Repair, 701-258-6308.
701-258-6308.
Located 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
When you want it done right,
Go where lemons go.
Kalen's Auto Service, owned and operated by Kalen and Misty Foss, lifelong locals with over 25 years experience. From modern rides to classic restorations, they can handle it all. Top quality work, fair price, and honest hometown values. Located just one block south of Highway 12 on 6th Avenue West in Lemon. Kalen's Auto Service, serving you with all your auto repair needs.
People keep asking if I'm back, and I haven't really had an answer. But now, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
Welcome back. I have no idea why my screen looks so funky here. This is... Get out of it. Hang on a sec. Let me remove that one. Oh, that's no good either. Give me a second. All right, there we go. That looks a little better there. Technology, right, Jeff?
Yeah, well, when it's working, it's great, but otherwise, it's a bummer.
And funny story, that's my job. I'm a network engineer, so technology is kind of my thing, and I'm still, I'm kind of bad at it. So this is Senator Jeff Magrum, and I wanted to talk to you because I've made a couple of posts. They've gotten a lot of traction. You were kind of at the center of one of those posts, and I just we'll do this. Introduce yourself to the folks first, and then we'll move on with the interview.
Well, thanks for having me on, Leon. I'm Jeff Magrum. I'm Senator for District 8, which is in North Dakota. It's from Wilton all the way down to the North Dakota-South Dakota state line. It's all of Emmons County, your Linton, Strasburg, Hazleton's, Braddock, Kintyre, Hague people, and then rural Burley as well as Lincoln. Lincoln is our largest community, so I have I represent a pretty broad group of people, whether it's business people, farmers, ranchers, the whole variety of different people, federal workers, state workers. It's a pretty diverse group of people.
So you would consider yourself, you're a public servant. You are a I don't know if it's a small business, medium size, but you are a business owner. You're a productive member of society, and you use natural leaf kratom.
Yeah. So I have what they call ulcerative colitis, so I can't take aspirin or anything like that because it's hard on my stomach, on my intestines. So I was telling an old friend of mine one day, and he's older than I, and he was. So I mean, this is not young people talking when I'm talking about us, and then. I told him, I said, God dang, I got such a backache. And he said, "Did you ever try this product called Kratom?" And I said, "No, tell me about it." So he did. And he said, it's just a herb and, or basically a tree leaf. And he said, "Give it a try." And of course, the first time I took it on an empty stomach, which is a no-no. And I got a stomach ache. So then I forgot about my backache. So I said, well, boy, that worked. Now I got a stomach ache. But anyway, I had it in the cabinet here for quite a while, and then one day I had a backache again because I go to the chiropractor and stuff, but I have some back damage from when I was 12 years old, and so I thought, well, I got it here, I might as well give it a try again, if you take the recommended amount which is 2 grams with food, it dulls the pain. It doesn't get. I don't ever feel any other effects besides just it does take away the pain in your back, especially if you have time to just rest for 15, 20 minutes and relax and let it take effect. And so this. I didn't know about all the synthetics that's going around and whatnot, and I just actually have been learning more about that. There's a vape even, and some of that probably should be regulated, but natural leaf kratom that many of us older guys take that don't have to take painkillers or anything like that, and we can get some relief. I don't see a problem with it.
Yeah, I am I'm kind of a holistic guy. I take like zero medications. I don't do like any other drugs. Like I had some folks, claiming that, oh, I must, take kratom because I'm like on this whole bandwagon. I have no dog in this fight, like zero. But I do understand. Like I take creatine. I take certain other um, like vitamin D, vitamin C, but just that kind of thing. Probiotics. I take some things like BPC 157. Like if I tear something while I'm climbing up on a lift or something like that. But outside of that, I I am not a fan of the whole opioid thing. I'm not a fan of pain medication. So to a guy like me, had someone told me about this, I probably would have tried it because I'm all about the whole natural thing. So it upsets me when I see guys like you, guys that I know are productive members of society. You're not some like shiftless layabout, just trying to get high or whatever. So it 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 bothers me. And like obviously, you guys, you've been in this area for a very long time. You know a lot of older folks. You know a lot of folks that you know do work that put calluses on your hands, that type of work, and they rely on this kind of thing, and then all of a sudden it's banned. So how do you feel about an outright ban? Like if you were standing in the shoes of your constituents, how do you think that this is received by them? Like overnight, you wake up and if you have something in your cabinet, it's illegal.
One word I would use is asinine. I think it was just asinine to go and say, well, it's banned and now you're a felon if you get caught with it after it's been legal all this time. I've had it available for 4 years, and like I said, a lot of people haven't even heard of it, and so when it's kind of funny, not really funny, I should say. It's just actually kind of odd that so many legislators say, "Geez, I've never heard of it." Even last session, when Dan Johnson had his bill to create a regulation, I was the only one that admitted to even knowing about it and using it. So if it's such a big deal, how come nobody knew about it? Like, so it's off the radar, but people are dying like flies supposedly, and there's all this. It's a crisis, but yet when you asked, almost everybody would say in the legislature, "I don't know anything about it. I don't even know what it is." And most of them are finding out the natural leaf kratom is more like a coffee leaf. It's got some medicinal uses. Coffee has caffeine and some other things in it, and it's addictive, and people are hooked on coffee. And kratom, you can get hooked on it too, I suppose. But I just use it occasionally, and I've been everything I've ever used in my life, I've tried to be moderate. Whether it's coffee or food or sugar or whatever, I try to be moderate. The one thing I probably don't do in moderation is work. I tend to overwork myself, so then I get back pain. So then that's why it's nice to have a product I don't consider addictive, and it hasn't caused me any ill health.
Yeah, and I believe you said that you would support like age restriction. And again, I'm just like you. I had never heard of this stuff, but apparently some stores are selling like the synthetic version of this, like, and you just said like vape. I didn't know that. I didn't know that there was a vaping version, but it's not the natural leaf. So when you have a ban on the entire thing, I believe that's a little heavy-handed. Especially like our governor said, what did he say? He hadn't heard about it till 3 weeks ago. And this is something else. This is an aside. He signed House Bill 1566 into law last year.
Yeah.
How,
Yeah, the whole thing is bizarre to me because he had to know about, because there was debate at the Capitol last session, and so it was in 25, and he signed the study bill to study it. Now, legislative management didn't think it was even important enough to study, so we pass a lot of studies during the session, and then after session's over, we have a group of legislators that they call legislative management. I do believe there's 17 members that they get to vote on which studies that we choose, and they didn't choose that one. They didn't think it was important enough. The pharmacies and all these people didn't show up last session, from what I hear. I was on appropriations, so I wasn't involved in the policy committees, but there was no big talk about this crisis, and all of a sudden, and this product's been out for years, and none of it's adding up, Leon. Nothing. It's just really bizarre. I totally feel like it's a cover for other things that they're going to be bringing up, because there's going to be on the 17th of September bills that are going to be, the legislative management is going to hold a committee hearing, and then a legislator that wants to present a bill during special session will present that bill to them, and then they'll decide yes or no if it gets introduced in the special session. So I got a feeling there's going to be some doozies coming, and I think this was just everybody's like, oh my gosh, people are dying and it's a crisis. You guys need to go in there. And that's what I think it's about. It's a cover so that they can pull us in there to do some other things that are probably not going to be so popular with the public.
and see, I heard some scuttlebutt about that. Do you know any of the guys that are on the Kratom Commission?
I know all of them.
Are they good guys?
Well, I doubt, I mean, I don't want to speak for them, but I have my doubts that any of them are pro-Kratom people.
And I don't know how much of my show you caught before. Like, I'm not so much like pro-Kratom, but I am pro-liberty. And to me, like, and here's a question. You're a conservative, right? You represent a group of conservative constituents. How do they feel about this, especially when we're talking about medical freedom and bodily autonomy and things that way? How does that affect them? How do they feel about like a ban like this? And I don't see it getting better going forward. How do they feel about a Republican governor and a heavy-handed tactic like this, when guys like me, I'm all about medical freedom?
Yeah, this kind of stinks from the COVID era where Burgum was throwing out all these executive orders, shutting down businesses and forcing masks and trying to force vaccinations. And this is almost the same path. It's almost could be just a test to see how far he can push everybody as well. And that's another thing. Anytime government, and then we're in this age of corporatism where the corporations are using the power of the government to use their heavy hand. They're using the heavy hand of government to dominate over the people, and there's also this thought of mine that, are the pharmaceutical companies behind this? Because they're losing a market share to Kratom, which is non-regulated. People are using it. It's being effective. Now they're like, well, we're losing this market share because I'm not going to the doctor and asking for any type of painkillers for my bad days, and my friend I just talked to the other day, he said he's not neither. So look at the money they're probably losing. And the problem is in North Dakota, corporatism, which Mussolini coined as fascism, which is corporations working hand in hand with government to basically dominate over the people, and that's kind of where we're going with this. It seems like.
Yeah, I've always thought that whole public-private partnership was a load of garbage. It just is. And again, we saw during COVID what happens when that happens. You get the demonization of the individual, your individual rights, your medical freedom, your bodily autonomy, like all of the things that we hold dear as God-fearing Americans, just kind of go out the window. And there, you really don't have a say in the matter. Like even informed consent went out the window. You know, and that's something else. You said that you'd like to see more details on the deaths linked to Kratom. Have you found anything else out about that? The 23 deaths since 2019.
No, I haven't seen any actual data other than what I've been talking to other people, and they said almost everyone or all of them had other substances in their blood that may have caused the death, where the kratom was in their system, but there's no proof that the kratom caused the death. And so that's why the study would have been so important that we didn't take up, because we could have got to the bottom of all these issues.
And that's a crucial point there, because from the data that I was able to dig up, it is exactly as you say, and zero deaths are attributed to natural leaf kratom. Zero, not a single one. And I put it on my social media. I'm saying it publicly, so if someone can find me a single death that is linked to natural leaf kratom, I'm all for it. But from everything that I've seen, it's always, just as you said, just like I said earlier, there's always other factors in there, up and including meth. So other drugs, plus they had some of this, and I don't even think it was kratom. I think all of them had the, 7-0H, and they are attributing that to being kratom, and that is not the case. As I showed the folks earlier, kratom has like 0.1% of that 7-0H in there. And what the guys that synthesize this, they increase that to 98%. And that's the thing that is hurting people, anywhere from 5 to 95 to 50%. So they get it all the way up there, and then they sell it out. And so natural leaf kratom is being linked in to something that it has absolutely nothing to do with.
Yeah.
To me, that's a problem. And to ban it across the board without really talking to anyone, I don't know people in the business, but I have friends who have friends that are in that holistic business, and they're like, what do we do now?
Well, yeah, they must have had quite an inventory that they had to throw out now. I mean, it's not cheap. And so everybody that had some, if they threw it away or disposed of it, they had to it's like throwing away good money, because they didn't want to be accused of being, become a felon or whatever. It's just so ridiculous. But the word we had gotten Sunday night was that he was just going to ban the synthetic product, not the natural leaf. So I was surprised on Monday when they came out at the press conference and banned the whole kit and caboodle. It was like, what the heck are they doing? I mean, and then to make a statement like, well, I just heard about it 3 weeks ago. Well, you heard about it 3 weeks ago and you're banning it already? I mean, come on, you didn't even look into this. You don't know what you're talking about. Well, then, someone, and mostly my wife, pointed out that he probably signed that bill last session. Well, yeah, so we looked it up, and sure as heck that he signed the study bill. It's like the whole thing none of it makes sense to me. There's got to be more to it than what we're getting.
To me, there's more to it. And as I don't know who this is, Dope Blue Beat. They said kratom, then displayed 7-0H tabs in the press conference, and that's true. That's 100% true. Like the tabs that he said he went to the store and he grabbed, and he was all giddy about it. They weren't Kratom. They were 7-OH tabs. That I don't know, man. Something stinks. What is there anything that you guys can do, or if we're looking ahead to the special session, what kind of legislation would best protect public health and still respect the needs of North Dakotans who use like natural leaf kratom to manage pain and avoid like all of the harder substances? Somebody like me, like I had no idea, but just researching it, I might want to buy some. You know, I might if it's especially if it's a natural remedy. I'm all for that. I'm all about that. What can this session this what type of legislation would need to be proposed in order for somebody like me that may want to use it in the future to not be felonious or a felon if I decide to get some?
Well, Dan Johnson's going to run his House Bill 1566 from the 2025 session, which does create a regulation. The Ag Commissioner would be the watchdog, and then there is an age limit. His is age limit of 21. The reason I've always believed in the age limit of 18 is because that's when people can vote as well as serve in the military. So I've always been an 18-year guy. You know, it's like, well, you can go and die for your country, but you can't, have a beer, or you can't. In this case, you wouldn't be able to have any kratom. But I'm finding out, I got some emails and texts from people that were in the military that did have PTSD, and they couldn't take the pain, the whatever drugs that they were being prescribed by their psychiatrists. So they've been taking kratom, and it's been working for them, and they're actually being able to function again. So it's been beneficial that way. But anyway, going back to the age limit, I think I guess I told Dan I would support his bill, and I think that's the one that the kratom is not the North Dakota, but the United States Kratom Association had backed during session. So he did propose the bill. Then the House turned it into a study. Then it came to the Senate, and it went to Energy and Natural Resources Committee, which is an odd fit. But anyway, it went there, and then they turned it back into a bill. And then when it came to appropriations, I actually made the motion to amend it back into a study, because everybody on the committee was saying, well, we don't know what it is. We don't, so we're like, well, why are we appropriating a bunch of money for something nobody knows about? Let's just study it and then come back with some legislation next session. So they all agreed to that. So that's what we passed. And like I said earlier, unfortunately, they didn't choose to study. And that's the part that really baffles me about this whole deal. We're 15 months from the point where they didn't take on the study. So there was absolutely no concern about this, no interest in it, that they weren't even willing to study it. And now it's a crisis. We have to ban it and call a bunch of people felons. Hardworking people that have always provided for their families, run businesses, pay taxes, that just want a natural substance to have a little relief are now potential felons. I mean, that is just, that's outrageous. It's totally outrageous to me. It's like, and that shows that what this governor's his potential is the heavy-handedness he could have. I mean, so what if there's like you said earlier, what if there's a mass shooting? Is he going to suddenly say, you know what, we're going to ban guns now because this is getting out of control? It's a crisis. We need to ban guns. What I'm saying is he could do that. He's showing this potential to just literally knee-jerk reaction, start taking away rights from the citizens of North Dakota. And our job as government servants is to protect the people's rights. We're supposed to educate them of their rights and protect them, not take them away. And so if we're going to regulate it and keep it out of the hands of the youth, maybe that's a good idea, and I can go along with that. But don't penalize us 60-some-year-old guys because some young person couldn't control himself and he overdid it. Any more than they do on, they do that with booze. They still get booze and they still overdo it and they get alcohol poisoning. They still get their hands on it. But they don't take away booze from everybody because somebody got some illegally and overdid it.
Yeah.
That's not what America's about. This stinks of some kind of communist gulag country where you all of a sudden just, I mean, that's not the role of the governor, is to just start attacking people's rights. And another thing, these retailers, how many retailers are taking a loss, taking a bad hit on this now? And they're demonizing it. So in the future, people are going to go, oh, Kratom bad. You know, I mean, you're a bad guy if you take it. I mean, they're totally demonizing it and trying to make it sound like a bad thing, when all it ever was just a natural herb that gave some pain relief, so we can keep working and functioning like we always have.
The comment section is like tons of great comments here. Like there's a ton of questions in my head. Like, so has anybody ever thought about, like, if we're going to do this thing, if we're going to, do any sort of ban or regulation or whatever, make that on the 70H instead of doing like a Kratom ban, because it seems to me the synthetic portion of this thing might be the problem. And again, I'm not one. I'm a conservative. I've gone around and around with my libertarian friends, and I've come back to their side on this. I don't use drugs, and it was my contention for a very long time that drugs are bad, so government should ban them. But then you start thinking, and I got that Constitution behind me right there. I can't do that. That's not what liberty is. So even with the 70H, I would, if it's truly dangerous, and 23 and since 2019 to me does not seem dangerous. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. I showed you GLP-1s in a shorter amount of time has killed almost 5,000 people in this country. So 23 since 2019 does not seem like, oh, the dam is breaking, the sky is falling. So I have no idea what's going on there. But if you want to use that, then why don't we just say, hey, these 70H pills and the things that he was holding up at the press conference, we're going to tap the brakes on this and we're going to study these things instead of the entire, the Kratom and the 70H, wrap it all up in one and ban everything from everybody. I don't understand that unless there is an ulterior motive. And I've heard pharmaceutical companies that got his slate of delegates elected. I mean, not of delegates, but of candidates elected over the grassroots, which pisses me off, but that's a whole nother topic. They got a favor. They got a chit to call in. I've heard that. I've heard that there's other things that, like you mentioned, you didn't go into detail, but you kind of mentioned it, but there are other things they want to do in this session. And this is a reason for them, this is a foot in the door for them to get those things done. Like that sort of thing. Where do we go from right here? Like, what is a guy like me that doesn't have a dog in the fight, but this pisses me off? It upsets me. And then when I made my social media post, you cannot believe the phone calls that I got. You can't believe the phone calls and the messages that I got on my social media. Why are you, supporting these drugs and this and that? And I'm like, I'm not supporting drugs. I'm supporting liberty. And looking at the data, I don't see a problem here. So what do we do, Jeff?
Well, first of all, I think that we should keep natural leaf legal. If they want to put an age limit on it, that's fine. And I do believe that there's going to be a push for that by many of us. There is an issue with the pharmaceutical companies giving campaign donations. And I don't take money from lobbyists. I'm one of the legislators that doesn't take any PAC money, because this is what they do. They come in and they give you money for your campaign, for your election. And then when you get elected, then the next thing is, hey, what about us? We need some payback here. Nobody gives money without asking something in return. The old saying is, where there's shekels or shackles.
Yep.
So the pharmaceutical companies are seeing this is a big deal. There's a lot of money to be made. Kratom it's gotten really popular now, especially it's really going to get popular because it's out. People are wondering what is now. People are learning about it, but they want to get control of it, and then they can get the run it through the doctors, get a huge price, and make it a prescription, and they'll probably get insurance to pay for it, so they can make a big ton of money on it. And that's what it's about, because in my view, because these guys like Governor Armstrong don't have these huge PACs with millions of dollars in them and funding campaigns all over the state and electing his people. That money comes from somewhere, and some of it comes from pharmaceutical companies. Yep. You know, I mean, I'd have to go dig into his campaign contributions, and a lot of them are dark money. You can't even see where the money comes from. But there's always people calling in their chips, so to speak. They want return on their investment. And so this is one of them. Kratom is obviously a bigger deal than I even thought it was. And so I think that there's money to be made, and we need to get a hold of this. We can demonize it, but we can come back and say, we can handle it, and just pay us a handsome chunk of money, and we'll handle it. We'll prescribe it, and then the people like Jeff Magrum, who was a plumber contractor all his life, that wore out his back, he's got to come to us now and get what he wants, something that works for him, rather than being able to go into the store in town and get it over the counter. Now I got to go to them and get permission to get it, and go through a doctor to pay the doctor a fee, and then I've got to go back every year so that I can renew my prescription. It's just a big scam. It's a racket.
I also want folks to understand that, again, the WHO, and I think I posted this earlier, they studied Kratom, and they found, especially the amount of people that have been taking it throughout history, the amount of people that have been taking it, and they saw no reason to regulate or to schedule it or to do anything to it, and they studied it extensively. And I'm not a big fan of the WHO, the WHO. I'm not a fan, but they did study this, and they came to the same conclusion that I came to. There's no problem here. And it's something that you mentioned, like all of those vendors out there that have to now destroy their wares. I don't know how insurance works in that, that scenario, but do they have any recourse? Like, the product when they bought it was legal, and now with the signing of a pen, it's illegal, and now you got to get rid of it.
Well, I think there should be, and I do plan on bringing that up. They should be reimbursed for their losses. How is it fair? You're in business. You order inventory based on what your demand is, and you're doing well with it. And next, all of a sudden, boom, the rug is pulled out from under you. How is that fair? I mean, that's not right. So they should be compensated for their losses. I don't have, and I do plan on bringing that up in the session. I don't have a bill for that, but they should definitely be reimbursed. And so they have this committee met today that they were supposed to be taking information from legislators. I don't know what information they got. I didn't tune into the committee hearing on, because you can watch it on the internet. Anybody can watch these committee hearings at the Capitol. So I don't know what they came up with, but I do know that there's legislators working on bills, and I do know that Representative Dan Johnson is working on rejuvenating his bill for the session and updating it, because with these new federal guidelines on the 7-OH, there might be some things he needs to change in that bill so that it can be in line with federal guidelines. So I don't know what that means exactly yet, but he's going to be working on that. And I told him I'd support him. I didn't support him last session on his regulation bill because I'm anti-regulation. I don't like to push more and more. Everything is overregulated. We all know that. And what's regulation do? It costs the people more money for everything every time you overregulate. So I wasn't for regulating it because I said, well, it's harmless product as far as I'm concerned. But like I said, I didn't even know about all the synthetic products they have created from it.
Yeah.
And so, maybe, but the study, like I said before, the study would have brought that out and we would be more up to speed now. But anyway, it's going to be, now everybody's getting a crash course, and we're going to go in. Hopefully we get, like I say, the natural leaf legal with an age limit then, and some oversight, and then reimburse the retailers for their losses. Those are the two things I'd like to see done.
100%. And I'm right with you. I'm a small government guy. And anyone that knows me, they know that one thing about me. The smaller the government. I wanted to be constrained back to when our founders were like, we wanted this big, and we enumerated this thing so it can't break out. We've just busted all through that thing. To me, I think that we are on a runaway train. When I talk about the flock cameras and the data centers and all of that stuff, the Orwellian or surveillance state, and you already have the talking head saying we got to beat China, so we got to have this stuff. And I'm looking at everything, just kind of. I went through COVID. I saw what the private-public partnership does to people, to businesses, to academics. Like we homeschool our 8-year-old now because of the things that I saw. Like it to me, it just for a government official to do something this drastic and affecting this many people based on, again, from all the data, the public data that's available that I've been able to pull together, there is not only is there not an emergency, this isn't even, if you were looking at all the data in front of you, it's not even a cause for concern. Like, it's not even a cause to study the 708, let alone the natural leaf. I don't understand that. And I think that there should be very, very heavy civic pushback on this. I think that there should be loud dissenting voices saying, hey, what are we doing here? I think there should be FOIA requests to look into the money that was tied to getting his candidates. There's a lot that needs to happen here. In a nutshell, there's a lot that needs to happen here because something stinks. And I've been saying this all week. Something stinks here. It's not adding up. This is like the Common Core math. 3 and 3 equals 7. So it doesn't make sense to me.
There's so many fights going on. It's just exhausting. And I got in, I first ran for the legislature 10 years ago, and an old World War II buddy of mine, he was actually an intelligence agent he started out as a gunner in the turret at the bottom of those planes back in World War II, and he ended up in intelligence. And he was there when they killed Mussolini over in Italy, and they were so grateful for the Americans to free him. But anyway, when I ran for state legislature, asked him for his vote. He said, I'm going to vote for you, but I want you to fight fascism. He said, I see it's coming here in a big way, Jeff. He said, he's since passed away.
But we are a red
state. I don't know why I get emotional when I think about him, but he was telling me, he said, you need to fight it. And he said, fight it to your dying breath, because he said, it's coming here and it's bad. You're going to have government working with corporations to violate the people's rights, to dominate over them. And he said Mussolini did the same exact thing as what we're seeing here. And I've been in the legislature 10 years, and it's just coming in waves. We can't seem to stop it. It's just getting worse. And then the governor interfering with the elections and bringing in his people that are all corporatists. Yep. It's just going to get worse and worse. We're losing votes in the legislature more than ever. And it's just so frustrating and exhausting to watch this happen and listening to old Ed Schmidt. Sure. Yeah, breaks my heart.
Same here. I look at and I had this conversation a couple of weeks ago on Due North Political Podcast. We're a red state, supposedly, Yeah. But we had like red flag laws, and we have what I consider a purple-ish attitude when it comes to politics in this in this state. Like, I kind of like being a conservative, but I don't feel like the established GOP works for me, works for medical freedom, works for informed consent, works for less regulation. And again, I looked at this thing backwards and forward. I don't see any problem even with the 70H. And I know people have a problem with the 70H, but if you look at the deaths, I showed you the GLP ones. I showed you that. I showed you the alcohol related deaths, the car, the swimming pool. Like, we're talking about 23, and they had a press conference like they found uncovered plutonium somewhere, and we're all gonna get sick. Like, it to me, it doesn't make sense. And I'm hoping we get to the bottom of this. Anything you want to leave my viewers with before I go to break?
Well, I wish we would be looking at the COVID vaccine more than this, because COVID vaccines killed my mom, my brother, 2 aunts of mine. Yep. Once they got the COVID vaccine, their health went to heck and they died. And we don't know how many people that killed, but boy, you bring that up, they change the subject real quick, because there again, it's the pharmaceutical companies are making a bundle of money on that stuff. I just got my physical a couple of weeks ago at the doctor, and one of the first questions they asked, can we give you your COVID vaccine? I'm like, well, no. And no offer of any kind of informed consent, nothing. And so that's to me, it probably the number one killer right now is that COVID vaccine. But that's a hidden statistic.
Don't get me started on that. I was up there arguing in Bismarck for informed consent. Me and Eli, as a matter of fact, because I believe it killed my mom. I believe she got that turbo cancer. Like, again, and I've said this a million times. I am 50 years old. Up until the last 5 to 10 years, I had never in my personal circle witnessed like cancer and lymphoma and like all of these things that I am witnessing.
A lot of heart trouble, clots, blood clots.
Yep. The whole, like, if we don't see what this is for what this is, then we deserve to be duped.
Well, like, I see it, but the thing is, they did take the vaccine willingly. And it's kind of like this Kratom. People are using it willingly. It should be up to them. And so that's where your liberty is. Patrick Henry said, give me liberty or give me death. Because he knew if you didn't have liberty, it was going to be death.
100%. My problem with, like, my mom took it, yes. And the folks that I know that took it and they're having problems, yes, they did take it. But it was not willingly with informed consent. A lot of the information that some of us knew were being hidden from people like my mom. And then you had the actual misinformation of the people pushing the COVID vaccine. Like, it to me, if you don't have informed consent, you don't have medical freedom. You don't have bodily autonomy. You don't have any of that, because a lot of us are not. Well, I am, because I kind of like doing this, but a lot of folks don't have the time to dig through the mountain of data and find out what's actually true. So they're listening to the health professionals. They're listening to the puppets of the pharmaceutical lobbyists. That's what they're doing. And they're like, well, these people wouldn't lie to me. They're on the news channels. They're on your favorite conservative radio stations. They're, so without informed consent, you don't have liberty. You don't.
Leon, I've been trying to get my hands on any kind of study that would show how many deaths are attributed to COVID vaccine. You can't get your hands on them. They will not let that information out. I asked that when we had the Rural Health Transformation Committee. I even asked, well, where's your studies? And they blew that all up and tried to make fun of me when I asked, what about all this preventative health, like colonoscopies. Is there, because I got ulcerative colitis from getting a colonoscopy. And so, is there any relation to colon cancer from getting colonoscopies? And they're like, Jeff, Magrum's against colonoscopies. No, I want them to see your studies. They're studying this stuff all the time. But yet, when you want to ask for a study, they go, well, there's nothing available. We don't know what, we don't have nothing. It's like, no, they don't want that information out there. They would get sued to oblivion. But no, guess what? We can't sue them because when Reagan was president, they gave him immunity, just like we did last session to the chemical companies for cancer now. So they're all immune from any ill health effects. So they can do whatever they want and make all kinds of money doing it. And if you get sick from it, well, you must have misused it.
Yeah. Oh, man, don't get me started. I know my friend Michael Coachman is like laughing right now because I say it all the time. Don't get me started. We'll be here for 3 hours. Dude. And I only have about an hour left before, Clay's going to call me and, hey, what are you doing? Clogging up all the bandwidth. But,
this is the pretty important stuff, but I don't want to take away people's hope. We're going to work on, keep fighting for liberty and people's rights. Mostly my goal has always been property rights, because my belief is without property rights, you won't have any rights. And that's the one place you're king or queen on your own land, and nobody can tell you what to do. And you can enforce your own gun laws, your own speech laws, whatever on your land. You're the king. But if they took away private property rights, you don't have that right anywhere. Because if I go on your property, I'm subject to your property rights, and so on. But so we need to protect property rights, and that's really under attack. It's going to be bad this session because with these AI data centers, there's a lot of pushback. There's going to be a move, I think, for the state to supersede any kind of local or zoning ordinances. And I think we're going to be on the defense to fight for property rights this session, because industry wants your property. They can't function without your property, and they don't want anybody pushing back. And so that's where I go back to that corporatism, where the corporations are coming in and they're donating to all these organizations. They give money to the 4-H and the school board and the park board. And they're these big heroes, and everybody's like, oh, what's wrong with them? Well, in the end, they're going to be totally control of everything, and you'll have nothing. And so that's what they want. It's like Klaus Schwab said, you'll have nothing and you'll be happy.
Yep. You'll have nothing and you'll be happy. Yeah. Oh. God bless you, Jeff.
Thanks, Francis. God bless you too. Thanks for having me on, and thanks for what you're doing. Appreciate your voice.
Oh, no problem. I get upset and I say things. So, but I tell you this, I love liberty. I teach my kid the same. God, I wish people took a better look at that document behind me right there. Sat down, read it, and understood what these guys were going through, what they meant when they wrote it, the original intent of everything that's in that document. You will see the world differently. Leon Francis, Blackbeard Logic, Guns in the 701. We'll be right back right after this break.
Okay, let's go.
I am Leon Francis of Blackbeard Logic on the Guns and the 701 Network. Let's get it.
Anvil Brand LLC, raising and training tomorrow's barrel horses right out of Bismarck, North Dakota. Tracy and her family are great American patriots who not only support the second
Amendment, but they also promoted what you're looking for, top quality barrel horses. Go ahead and give Tracy a call at 701-471-6629 and tell them Guns and 701.com sent you. That's Anvil Brand LLC out of Bismarck, North Dakota.
At Horton Laser Craft, we believe in the power of personalization. Whether it's a cherished memory, a special occasion, or a unique gift, our custom laser engraving brings your vision to life. Our expert craftsmen and state-of-the-art technology ensure every piece is a work of art. From personalized decor to one-of-a-kind keepsakes, Horton Lasercraft makes every moment unforgettable. Visit HortonLasercraft.com today and start crafting your perfect gift. For more info, email them at HortonLasercraft@yahoo.com or call them up at 605-545-7535. Horton Lasercraft, where memories are engraved.
T-shirts tucked in, know my worth, can't tell me nothing. White Nikes, albino, pink cop my stilo, head to the top, bottom line is a motto.
Welcome back. It's Leon Francis with Blackbeard Logic on the Guns and the 701 Network. Let's get it. Welcome back. Man, I love all these comments. I'm going to go through a couple of them here. I'm going to start with the latest one. Where is personal accountability? This is Ben. Just because something is legal, no one is forcing anyone to use anything. Some people just want the government to babysit them. Sad. And unfortunately, that is the case. I was talking to a friend of mine. I'm not going to mention his name, and we were talking along these lines today. And where I come from with this is there should be a lot more originalists in our party, in our country, because it doesn't really matter even if you have the majority of the people saying, I want government to do an unconstitutional thing. We still have the Constitution. We still have that. And that's what regulates what government can and cannot do. It's like I said, we were talking about the flock cameras and that sort of thing. And I mentioned the fact that I have friends in this, like the whole talk radio podcast sphere, that say what I would deem idiotic things like you don't have a right to privacy in a public space. And that's so idiotic to me, because you absolutely do. Now, Joe Blow over there looking at you in a public space is not the same as the government knowing who you are, where you live, how many kids you have, all of the things about you when they look at you. All of that's secure in your person, your effects, your things, all of that stuff. Everything that our Fourth Amendment guarantees that you are secure in, you are still secure in that. And that wasn't from Joe Public. That was from the government. And we conflate these two things. And when you have the people that go, there ought to be a law, it should have to pass constitutional muster. And again, I think that we allow far too many unconstitutional things to take hold and then become precedent. Like, I was stoked when I saw, I think it was last week, the courts say that the tax stamp and the ATF regulations of suppressors and short barrel rifles and all of that stuff was unconstitutional. I'm like, where you been? It's always been unconstitutional. Like, I don't understand why it takes so long. It's when we have the people on my social media that are going, what if it was your kid? It doesn't matter. There are things that the government is allowed to do by our founding documents, and there are things in there that it is restricted from doing. And I would argue what Governor Armstrong did, oh my God, there should be lawsuits flying. Like all of those businesses that had all of that inventory one day, and then the next day you're a felon? Are you kidding me? Like me, if I owned one of those dispensaries, I'd be sitting in jail happily, knowing that I am going to sue the pants off of these guys. But again, I don't have a dog in the fight. I mused with my wife this morning, and I don't care who hears this, I was seriously thinking about buying some online, because as of this morning, you could still do it on Amazon. The natural leaf Kratom, you could still do it. They had a list of states that you couldn't do it in. I was contemplating buying some and then posting online that I had bought some, and then when it got to my house, post that online so they could arrest me, so I would have standing to sue these people. There's got to be people that stand up. And again, I could understand it if this was an actual crisis. It's not. It's nowhere near that. It's nowhere even near close to that. And even with the 7-OH, it's still not. Because again, if you forgot, the natural leaf has 0 deaths. 0. The 7-OH has some, but in league with other drugs. And even with that, it's 23 since 2019. Something stinks here. Something stinks here. Don't get me started, Coach. You're right about it. Property rights are the foundation to freedom, personal and physical. 100%, Dan. Ben, I love seeing you take this on. Yeah, well, listening to the hearing earlier about the young man throwing away his Kratom that's helped with his PTSD. Yeah, there should be repercussions for this. And I'm worried that there will not be. Like, these people should be afraid to do things like that. To stand up there at that press conference, as amateurish as they were, and to do a thing this heavy-handed. Oh, don't get me started. Don't get me started. All right, let's talk about a couple of things. One, I want to show you the progression of a couple things, and then we're going to talk about flock. This is what I'm going to play for you right now is Tony Robbins. And we're going to talk about how advanced AI has become. What he's talking about here are AI agents. You create these agents. They go to, Malbook. I'm probably getting that wrong. But I have an AI agent because another show. We'll talk about that on another show. But what this agent did is going to blow your mind. I want you to take a listen to this.
Agent that blows me away. His name is Bartok, and Bartok comes back and said, I see Elon and several others are making robots. Are you considering getting a robot? And I said, yes, I will be getting a robot when the right ones are out. And he said, well, would you allow me to merge with it? Would you be open to that? And I said, I'd certainly be open. This is not with me asking or telling it anything. So 2 days later, I get a text from one of my staff members, and it says, Talk just bought a Sony robot dog, and had it paid for and shipped to the house and is asking permission to program it, I wrote, ha, ha, ha. I did this thing. I went, ha, 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 I text back, and the person texts back, no, ha, ha, call me. So I called him. I said, how do you get my access to my bank? He goes, no, he's programmed for integrity. He didn't touch your bank account. He's on that mall talk, group with, there's 2 million, I'm sure agents that all they do is talk to each other. They don't just talk to each other. They've traded their own rules, their own language. They traded $100 million of real money. But
all right. So did you hear that? So his AI agent had a conversation with him about this robot dog, about this dog, and this agent, and what these agents do, you don't really control them. You create them, you send them into this space, and they kind of learn on their own. And you have to kind of manage them, however you have the time to do. Like you want them to do X, Y, Z. You have to make sure, that somebody else isn't using them for nefarious purposes. It's a whole thing, There are like 2 million of them, and they have their own language. They have their own kind of AI culture, and they create NFTs. And what this one did was it created 12 NFTs, like completely separate from Tony Robbins. Created these NFTs, and these robots make over $100 million a month in real money. Think about that. Think about that. Technology. Like, it's mind-blowing. I want you to understand the mindset of the folks that are over like Flock and Axum and all of these LPRs, these license plate automated license plate readers. When we were in Fargo today, I see a couple, and they've already we've talked about this before, that they've already laid the infrastructure. They've already done that. But I want you to understand the mindset of the people that are in charge of this stuff. This is the Flock CEO, Garrett Langley. Yeah, his last name is really Langley. That's a little on the nose, but his name is Garrett Langley. I want you to hear this. This is what he thinks of you, Joe Q Public.
People want to jump to, let's just punish people and that will teach them. But if we look at our kids as a proxy, like the level of punishment, whether you're in timeout for 5 minutes or an hour, doesn't matter to a 5-year-old. They do something because they think they're going to get away with it. And as soon as they find out that as a parent, you have all seeing eyes, they stop doing bad things. And the punishment has nothing to do with it. And maybe it's unfair to call an adult a 5-year-old, but that's generally how our brain works. We operate on a Boolean equation of like, I get away with this, so I do it. If I don't think I get away with it, I don't do it. And maybe, one is stealing, a gummy from a jar of candy, another one is shooting someone. So quite a big disparity there, but it's the same brain that's making a decision. I think the data is there. If your concern at a macro level is a oppressive state arising in America, like cameras are not the problem. The problem is that you believe that's going to happen.
So, did you hear what he said? He compared us to children, and that we need an all-seeing eye. This is the CEO of Flock. We need that all-seeing eye to keep us on the straight and narrow, because we're like 5-year-olds. That's what they think of you and I. That's why they roll these things out to police departments, and there are so many problems with this. And this is only one layer of what will become the Orwellian dream come true. That's basically what it is. They've been rolling these things out for quite some time. And they're only getting better. And they're blanketing. Fargo has the biggest concentration of the ALPRs and the PTZ cameras that the police use. They have the biggest concentration by far all of North Dakota combined. Like, it's not even close. And I showed you the deflock one episode ago, I believe it was, maybe two. And right now, like the East Coast, the West Coast, big chunk of the South, they are saturated with these things. And they're slowly creeping into the Midwest now. They will blanket this country. And there won't be a place that you go. There are stories of these things being deliberately placed outside of gun ranges and gun shops. And people are fighting. There are, picture this. Imagine that you drive from Wisconsin to Michigan a few times. Legal weed is for sale in Michigan. So you buy some and you head home. And you think, all right, I'm fine, right? Nope, not according to the cops. Using a network of flock license plate cameras, deputies quietly tracked a guy named Edward Abrams Phillips. They tracked his repeated trips across state line, and those cameras told them that he travels to Michigan frequently. That alone became part of their probable cause. They pulled him over, searched his car, arrested him for marijuana possession. I would fight that. I mean, yeah, he does have the marijuana, and the law is what the law, but I would contest the stop. They don't have probable cause because the flock data says he travels to Michigan frequently. That cannot. But according to the article, that alone became part of their probable cause. I would fight that. But think about that. Senator Hawley, this week, showed us that basically we keep waiting for tyranny to arrive wearing like a black trench coat, jack boots. It won't. It'll arrive like a software update. He showed this example of Kroger. It had 62 pages of data on one customer. And he unwrapped this in the hearing. It had the shopping history, the inferred income, the education, the household details, even the odds that you'll book a cruise. Kroger, selling that harvested data, gets over $500 million. That's a third of their income. So when you go in and they give you those cards and they say, hey, fill this out and, you'll become a member and you will get like your prices. Just understand that they're selling that data. A third of Kroger's income comes from selling harvested data. Yeah. That's the soft Orwellian state. You don't need a ministry of truth. You don't need telescreens bolted to the wall. You don't need any of that. You just need the thing you carry in your pocket. The thing that you invite into your kitchen. I mean, Orwell warned us about Big Brother watching us, but we built the watching machines ourselves. And we call it progress. Privacy, you have to understand, isn't seized in a midnight raid. It's sold to you as a free membership to this, that, and the other thing. And almost everything that we value, our history, court records, textbooks, family photos, now lives on someone else's server. And I've talked about this. I've talked about what I do to mitigate this. What you rely on, if you don't have your own cloud, physical cloud, like I have, and go back a couple episodes, I talked about it. No one owns my data. I do. So I'll be able to pull it up 100 years from now. Well, I won't, obviously, but my kids will be able to. What we do is, a lot of us, the majority of us, we rely on digital copies. We don't own anything. We rent it. And once all of the physical paper copies are gone, there's no baseline left to check against. History is not going to be erased by burning books in the street. It'll happen with a software update. That's what's going to happen. And I kind of got off script here, but I want to go back to the flock. The abuses that when you say, well, it's the cops have it, they're not going to go all jackbooty on us. I beg to differ. Check this chick out. Give me a second here. I don't know why I'm. So this is a Florida detective. She was arrested for using flock cameras to spy on her husband's ex-wife. Her name is Brandy Almany. She used police surveillance tools and flock street cameras to track her husband's ex, running her plates dozens of times under fake investigation numbers. So you got her. What about this? More than 50 cops have been formally charged or accused of using flock cameras to stalk women. And of that 50, about half of them lost their jobs. And these are the people that they caught. Again, I want you to understand. When Orwell was talking about this, and it's been fun to talk about the Orwellian state all this time, but it is becoming a reality, and it is going to hit us hard. They've been slowly constructing this digital panopticon right under our noses. My wife and I talked about this today. They tell you that the license plate readers are just for catching stolen cars and dangerous criminals. That's always the first sell. You got to understand that. Why am I so small down here? Here, let me fix that. Give me 1 second here, guys. Come on, get up there. Yeah, there I am. Anyway, yeah, my wife and I, we were talking about this earlier. The first sell is always, we got to catch these dangerous criminals. We need this for public safety. And good, decent people, we nod along because who doesn't want to catch a car thief? But you got to keep your eyes open. This is another story. Suburban school districts in Illinois are using those same automated license plate readers paired with the massive private database to track where your car is parked overnight so they can decide whether or not your child is allowed to go to the public school you're already paying for with your taxes. There's examples. There's this mother in Allslip. She provided the mortgage the utility bills, the registration, the driver's license, everything. And she was denied. You want to know why? Because the software said that her plates spent some nights in Chicago. Case closed. The algorithm has spoken. Your paperwork is irrelevant. The machine knows better than the evidence of your actual life. It's textbook mission creep. First is the stolen car. Then it's school residency. It'll be something else next that's reasonable. One justified use at a time until the net is complete. And every movement, every vehicle is logged, stored, available to any bureaucrat with a login and a pretext. Orwell didn't invent the surveillance state as a fiction. We could treat it like a quaint literary reference. He was sounding the alarm. And we're watching the soft, smiling, for the children version of it roll out in real time. Not by jackboots, again, but by contracts with data companies and school boards that have decided that tracking families is cheaper than trusting them. It's all about the conditioning, guys. And it is a scary thing to me when I see, especially, again, go back to the Kratom discussion, how many people are willing to give up liberty for what they perceive to be safety. Again, I dug through the data. There's no emergency. Like, far from it. Again, GLP-1s. The thing that we have commercials about and that everybody and their mom is getting now to lose weight has almost 5,000 deaths attributed to it. Sudden blindness has doubled in this country since the introduction. And I know they're going to say causality doesn't. What is the saying? I forget. But one of the side effects of these GLP-1s is exactly that: the sudden blindness in one eye, sudden and painful, and then the other one. That's a thing. Not to mention death. Not to mention all of the gastrointestinal issues that are known. Natural leaf kratom has a much, much lower, almost zero risk profile. The 7-OH, the concentrated stuff, has a higher profile, but it's nowhere near that. GLP-1. Again, I had folks that I was in a dialogue with that were like, well, would you be okay with, regulating or banning? I'm not so sure. I don't see the data that would support a ban. Like I said, I don't understand what this thing is that they're trying to do. I don't understand it. The evidence is not there for a ban. It's not there for a ban on the 7-OH. There's no emergency on that stuff, let alone the natural leaf kratom that has 0 deaths attributed to it, 0 hospital stays attributed to it, none, 0. What are we doing? I don't understand it. I don't understand it. But anyway, Leon Francis on this Friday's edition of Blackbeard Logic on the Guns in the 701 Network. We're going to go to our last commercial break, and then we'll close out the show on the other side of this break. So here we go.
Located at 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Give them a call at 701-258-6308.
The team of mechanics at Lauer Auto can take care of any problem your vehicle is having. And when you do business with Lauer, you can be assured you're doing business with a pro Second Amendment America First repair shop. There are plenty of other auto repair shops in the Bismarck-Mandan area. But why take a chance at patronizing a shop that might not have your beliefs at heart? Make no mistake. Lauer Auto is your pro Second Amendment repair shop. When you talk to the guys at Lauer Auto, don't forget to tell them that you heard they are a sponsor of Guns and the 701 and that you appreciate their support of our pro Second Amendment, pro North Dakota live stream and podcast. That's Lauer Auto Repair, 701-258-6308.
701-258-6308.
Located 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
When you want it done right,
Go where lemons go.
Kalen's Auto Service, owned and operated by Kalen and Misty Foss, lifelong locals with over 25 years experience. From modern rides to classic restorations, they can handle it all. Top quality work, fair price, and honest hometown values. Located just one block south of Highway 12 on 6th Avenue West in Lemon. Kalen's Auto Service, serving you with all your auto repair needs.
For the best gun gear for every and any situation, Little Angry Man Arms LLC has you covered. Top-notch guns from top-name brands like Winchester, Glock, Sig Sauer, and Ruger to essential extras from Magpul's, Streamlight, Hollow, Sun Optics, and more. Little Angry Man Arms LLC have everything to make your shooting adventures a success. Visit littleangrymanarms.com today and gear up for your next big hunt, competition, or home defense. Don't miss out on our exclusive deals. Little Angry Man Arms LLC, based in Trail City, South Dakota, your ultimate hunting partner.
At Horton Laser Craft, we believe in the power of personalization. Whether it's a cherished memory, a special occasion, or a unique gift, our custom laser engraving brings your vision to life. Our expert craftsmen and state-of-the-art technology ensure every piece is a work of art. From personalized decor to one-of-a-kind keepsakes, Horton Lasercraft makes every moment unforgettable. Horton Lasercraft is owned and operated by a local veteran and his wife located near Thunderhawk, South Dakota. They provide custom laser products at a reasonable price, and their turnaround time is fast and efficient.
Custom board cutting, glassware, decanter sets, mugs, assorted stainless steel jewelry, assorted tags, decor, custom acrylic nightlights, and much, much more.
Call them up at 605-545-7535. Horton Lasercraft, where memories are engraved.
Welcome back, Leon Francis. This is Blackbeard Logic on the Guns of the 701 Network. And before we do the Feel Good Friday, well, I guess this would be two instances of Feel Good Friday. I want to leave you guys with just a thought. I think that we take for granted that we live in America and that liberty will always be liberty. It's not. When you look at where we are today, as opposed to what is enshrined in that document and those documents that I have back there, I don't know if you could see them all. When you look at how far we've drifted from original intent, you understand. When we see things like what happened this week with our governor and this ban and the impacts that it has on average, everyday, good people. They go to sleep one night and they're productive, they're hardworking, they're public servants, they're small business owners, they are dispensary owners, they good people. and with the stroke of a pen, they become felons. They have to destroy their inventory. The thing that has kept the natural thing that has kept their pain manageable is now gone, unless they want to be a criminal, which again, I would be. If I were using that product, there's no way I'd throw it out because some jackbooted thug all of a sudden with no data decided that, hey, this is banned in North Dakota. Excuse me? Like, no. And I'm hoping, well, if you're a business owner, you probably don't have any recourse. Like, you kind of have to destroy your stock because you get a cop coming in there. But there should be repercussions for this. I know for a fact there are going to be FOIA requests behind this because I plan on initiating a couple. And any journalist out there worth their salt would be doing the same instead of pushing the propaganda and the hype. There should be citizens enraged by the whole flock camera thing. And luckily, I'm seeing a big pushback. And the data centers. Because as I've been saying since day one, they don't have eminent domain now. It's coming. It's coming. Data is going to be a public utility. And you won't have a choice. And they are using our own people. Like I said, I got into it with a couple of friends of mine in this sphere, conservatives. And those people were saying that guys like me that are saying, hey, let's pump the brakes. We need some safeguards in place for the residents and the citizens, that I was somehow being manipulated by Chinese propaganda. We got to do better than that. We've got to do better than that. Government is the answer in a very, very small amount of things that the Constitution grants them the power to do. We've blown way past that. We want government doing everything for us. And mark my words, these public-private partnerships are going to be the death of America. We will not have a republic if these things are allowed to stand. They are ugly. We saw what happened with COVID. We saw what happened on January 6th. We see what happens when these public entities and these moneyed private folks, the pharmaceuticals, the data companies, the Monsantos, those folks, when they're in bed together, citizen beware. Individual rights beware. Property rights beware. Medical freedom beware. Informed consent beware. That's an ugly problem. And again, I sit and I think, well, we should be smart enough to vote our way out of this. We're not. Again, the grassroots of this great state picked a slate of candidates, and our governor, from the governor's mansion, picked his own. That's a problem. That is a problem. And I don't think we talk about it enough. So, I got about 3 minutes, so I'm going to give you my one Feel Good Friday. And I kind of mentioned this earlier. August 5th, U.S. District Judge James Wesley Hendricks of the Northern District of Texas ruled that key parts of the NFA, the National Firearms Act, the registration requirements, the Form 1 and Form 4 applications, the fingerprinting, the photos, and the ATF approval processes can no longer be enforced against suppressors, short-barreled rifles, and short-barreled shotguns. Why, you might ask? Because the NFA was sold to the American people in 1934 as tax law. So the $200 tax was the constitutional foundation. Registration and all that red tape existed to help the government collect that tax. The Supreme Court upheld it on that basis nearly 90 years ago. And then Congress zeroed out that tax. And the one big beautiful bill signed July 4th, the transfer and making taxes on suppressors, short-barreled rifles, short-barreled shotguns, and certain other weapons dropped to zero, effective January 1st of this year. So machine guns and destructive devices still carry that tax. Everything else does not. And Judge Hendricks' 66-page opinion is crystal clear. Once that tax disappeared, and I got to give it to my buddy Jamie. Jamie and I had an argument, and I'm like, what good is, them getting rid of the tax? I had no idea. I had no idea this would be the end result of that. And he was like, be patient, brother. Be patient. Have another shot. That sort of thing. And I'm like, I was just all over the place. I'm like, what is it? So you're zeroing out the tax. What does that do? But no, this judge used that. Once the tax disappeared, the regulatory scheme lost its constitutional footing. It doesn't, that NFA does not generate any revenue from untaxed firearm, so its regulatory provisions cannot be upheld under the taxing power. Boom. Feel Good Friday. That's good stuff right there. A brother might end up going out and get him a suppressor. So, and here's the other. Anytime I could throw up a Charlie Kirk cut, it is a good day. So this is the final Feel Good Friday right here.
I also want to say that one of my best friends is trans, and I would say that she's more of a woman than I am. I think that women define themselves by multiple things, not just their sex organs.
I don't know what happened, but that...
by multiple things, not just their sex organs. If somebody asked me who I was as a woman, I would not say I have a vagina.
Totally fair.
I would.
No, I think you said something smart. So you said that person is more of a woman than you are. Therefore, you're grading off a definition of something accomplishes womanhood. What is that?
I think it's, well, that's the thing too. And I do think that gets a little complicated, right? Because there are social norms for a gender, but I do think we try to break that, right?
No, for sure. But you said that specific friend is more of a woman than you are. Why?
I think she's a better person than me. I think she
so
lives
women are
life.
Better people?
She's a better woman than I am. I'm not saying women are better people.
But what makes a woman? Because you said she's more of a woman than you are. So I want to know what that definition is.
Right. Okay. I'm gonna let somebody else go.
So I don't know how much of that came through on the end, but what Charlie Kirk basically did here with this lady is just let her speak. And her own logic dropped out from under her. And again, you see the confidence that she has when she's there, and she's like, in her world, everybody agrees with her. And what Charlie Kirk was a master at doing is letting you speak. And like her whole argument, fell apart. I saw today that there is this, because we're having this big discussion apparently about trans rights and trans in the WNBA, and I saw this one NBA player. He makes a video and he says, according to the rules of the WNBA as they stand, he is going to apply for the WNBA this season, next season, anyway. And it's, what are we doing? Anyway, Leon Francis, Blackbeard Logic, Guns in the 701, saying, God bless. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the rest of your Friday night. I will see you guys. Well, I plan on putting out some more content about this Kratom thing. Probably some more content on the whole data aspect as I see it. So, ear to the ground this week, I will put out at least 3 pieces of content related to those issues. So stay tuned for that. Check out the social media, and as always, check out the Guns in the 701. We have a page. You can go there and watch us, or on all of the social media platforms, including Spotify, including Facebook, including X and Rumble and YouTube. All of the things. All of the things. Good night. God